Hello and welcome to the big fight, and I have to say it's been a really dramatic 2 or 3 days. I think it was Reuters which said that more has been done on reforms in 24 hours or 48 hours than in 8 years preceding that. Now what's this going to mean? Are these big bang reforms, or is there now going to be a real big fight? And then is there going to be a big surrender or not? Is the government going to dig its heel in? Is this the nuclear moment for this government that the Prime Minister is going to say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go down. If we have to go down, we will go down fighting, as apparently he said in the cabinet. So we are going to take you through all permutations and combinations of these big bang reforms. Are they good? Are they bad? Is the government going to stick to it? And also we will be taking in particular a look at some of the more contentious issues like FDI and retail. Has what the government done, is it fair enough or is it not? All views will be here on this show to really take us through it. Let me first start off by welcoming, joining us, Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, Politburo member and Rajya Sabha MP from the CPM. He's joining us. We are going to be joined in just a short while by the Trinamool Congress as well, and by Captain Gopinath, MD of Air Deccan. Also going to be with us, Rajan Mittal, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Bharti Enterprises, somebody who's really very crucially affected by a lot of this. Joining us right here, we have Mr. Govind Rao, who's a member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. It's great to have you with us. Gaurav Bhatia, head of the legal cell of the Samajwadi Party. Your support is going to be important to see whether the government does stick its grip. I was talking about the nuclear deal with the Samajwadi Party, which ensured that the Prime Minister was able to hold his grounds in UPA 1. Will you help him to stand his ground this time? Well, we will find out. Praveen Khandelwal, Secretary General of CAIT, has already announced dharnas and protests and all sorts of things, and you're appalled as to what the government has done. We'll find out why. John Chalmers, Bureau Chief of Reuters. I think it was your publication which made that statement. A lot happening right now. And we also have with us Krishna Prasad, Editor-in-Chief of Outlook. Thank you all so much for being with us. Before I come to the actual discussion, let's just see where the debate is actually and what's been happening today. Siddharth now joining us, Siddharth Pandey. Siddharth, quickly, if you could run us through the events of the day. Are all the signals pointing to the fact that the government is going to stand firm, whatever the Trinamool Congress might say or anybody else might say?
Well, that's the way it looks. In fact, the Prime Minister actually just less than 24 hours after announcing that by his government, he actually went ahead saying that the reforms are here to stay. It's essential that the reforms are actually carried out, and the government must take a risk at this particular time. And that's, of course, despite the ultimatum given by the Trinamool Congress today. Mamata Banerjee actually hit the streets of Kolkata in protest, saying that the government has not consulted about the big decisions. It's given the government till Tuesday to try and rethink about both the FDI as well as increase in the fuel prices. You also had the two other allies of the government, both Akhilesh Yadav as well as Mayawati, holding press conferences, both saying they are unhappy with this. Of course, not giving an ultimatum, if you will, but all three big allies of the government saying they're unhappy with this particular decision. And of course, the BJP saying that it's going to go ahead and hold a Bharat Bandh on the 20th of this month.
All right, Siddharth, we'll see how all that political maneuvering plays itself out. Let me just go straight across to Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, and then I'm going to be going across to Piyush Goyal as well, a member Rajya Sabha of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Mr. Yechuri, the fact that the CPIM, CPIM, of course, CPIM. Mr. Yechuri, the fact that the government has pushed ahead in this big bang fashion, is this something you were anticipating, and do you now think that they will hold their horses and they will stand firm on this?
Well, that's up to the government, and more than the government is up to their allies. Actually, how much pressure the allies are going to put on the government, whether these pressures are actually real or is only for public consumption. A lot of these variables are involved in it, where there's a degree of uncertainty. But as of now, from what it appears from the government's and the cabinet's strident note, that they seem to be fairly firm on going ahead with these reforms, and so are we fairly firm in going ahead with the opposition to it. Because on the 20th of this month, I mean, we have the left parties along with our secular allies, including Samajwadi Party, the Janata Dal Secular, the BJD, we have all given a call for nationwide protests, including hartals.
And in this opposition move against whatever the government has done, are you going to be reaching out formally or informally to the BJP as well and trying to coordinate all the opposition together?
Well, I think the sort of a coordination has happened without any real formal coordination, because the only day available, because 19th is Ganesh Chaturthi, 17th is Vishwakarma Puja, and therefore the only first available date was the 20th, where we have given the call and they've also given the call. So, but the reason for this angst, let's say, the anger is that, I mean, neither is the fuel hikes according to us justifiable, because all the oil companies have reported handsome profits in the current, I mean, last fiscal year. I mean, ONGC to the tune of 25,000 crores of rupees. And the fiscal deficit, if you're trying to contain through cuts in subsidies for the poor, just remember you gave subsidies to the rich in terms of tax, corporate tax concessions and income tax concessions to the tune of 5.28 lakh crores last year. Your fiscal deficit, high fiscal deficit of 6.9% is 5.22 lakh crores. It's 6,000 crores less than your fiscal, I mean, more than your fiscal deficit has been the subsidies to the rich. So you target subsidies, then whom are you targeting? You're targeting subsidies for the poor in the name of containing fiscal deficit. You're hiking the prices, and I think this is completely counterproductive. Okay, it only will ensure that the manufacturing sector, which is growing at 0.1%, is going to dip further, because people just will not have enough money to buy. There won't be any domestic demand that will grow.
Okay, let me just throw that to you, John. No real need for this, no real requirement for this. Now, what we've been hearing, and hearing this increasingly loudly, is that the perception about India from the rating agencies, from the foreign media, from investors in general, and from India Inc. has been there's complete paralysis. You needed to do something like this, otherwise the country was going down the tube.
That's right, absolutely. I think, this was needed since 2004, and as you rightly said at the beginning, we haven't seen any move as strong as this from the UPA government in the whole 8 years since 2004. Yes, investors were crying out for this. They needed this as a shot in the arm. We have seen foreign investment in the last quarter fall something like 67% quarter on quarter from last year. That tells you that foreign investors are actually voting with their feet. They're pulling money out of India. They're losing confidence in India. S&P, they're talking about downgrading India. They're losing confidence in India as a place to put your money. Meantime, growth is going down. Only this morning, the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh talked about a risk of growth going down to 5%. That's not enough for India, for growth to trickle down and to bring people out of poverty. So yes, these steps were very much wanted by analysts, investors, whether they be portfolio investors or people coming in to set up factories in this country. They really wanted it, and so it's very, very welcome.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.